Hi, this is the third part of my series on narcissism and Christianity, how they go hand in hand, how they feed into each other, and how Christianity needs narcissists in order to continue making more churches and making more Christians. So in part one, I talked a bit about the narcissist's natural delusions of grandiosity, how they think they're the smartest and the most important people, and how Christianity needs narcissists to be leaders. In the second part, I talked a bit about how every narcissist needs to build his own world around him that supports him and feeds his narcissism, and how Christianity also encourages people to build their own world that is pure and separate, and just the great fit there between narcissists and Christianity. In this last part three, I'm going to talk a bit about the narcissist's natural lack of empathy, which is a huge diagnostic marker when a psychiatrist meets a narcissist for the first time, and how Christianity promotes and praises people who lack empathy. So in Christianity, your one main mission, other than glorifying God and serving God forever. Glorifying God and enjoying God forever. The thing that glorifies God the most is to share Jesus and the message of salvation with everyone, as many people as possible. And if those people don't receive your message well, as Paul said, you should shake the dust off your feet, and God's eternal judgment will be on those people. The narcissist needs people to agree with him and doesn't mind the idea of people being cursed if they don't agree with him. He steamrolls others regardless of their needs, and so every problem in someone else's life is because they need Jesus. Even if a person's been a Christian before, if the person is not a Christian anymore, they need to hear about Jesus. And actually listening to other people's opinions that are conflicting with a narcissist is a sign of weakness. Now, the way this looks in Christianity is that the Christians are taught that they have the truth. They have been given it by God, so it is ultimate truth. And to listen to someone else who's not enlightened, why would you do that? You already have the truth that's really not up for discussion, and the other person's just wasting your time and wasting their time. What they need to do is listen to you. And that's exactly what the narcissist wants. He needs people desperately to listen to him and to treat him like the expert that he is. When you disagree with a narcissist, you'll be dismissed. You may be shouted down. You may just be told that you're being argumentative. In my household, disagreeing was very dangerous. And I learned this at an early age. So when I was 4, I once disagreed with my dad about something mundane. And unfortunately, we were at the dinner table and just starting the meal. So I was sent to my room for the rest of the night, and I was sent to my room without dinner. That's how threatened a narcissist feels when someone disagrees with them, even a small child. For adults, and for myself as an adult, if I disagreed with my dad politically, I would be shouted down. I would be dismissed as someone who wanted to freeload. One time my dad said, "This is the laziest generation that has ever lived." And it seemed lost on him that this generation is me, and that I had taken so many jobs and had such a hard time with the job market, and that he knows almost no one in this generation. And I know a lot of people, but when I said my opinion, I was shouted down, and then I was treated to a very long rant that kind of escalated in volume. And finally I just said, Dad cares more about winning this argument than he does about me. You'll also see that when a Christian deconverts, almost never will another Christian say, hey, what's going on? Why did you choose to do that? Because, again, Christians are very threatened by disagreement. They aren't very educated. They don't know a lot about other belief systems because it's important in Christianity to keep your mind pure and to focus on the truth. And that means ignoring opposing viewpoints. So they will almost never ask you why you deconverted. They will almost never ask you what you think about a topic. They believe they already know why you deconverted. And the narrative around why someone deconverts that I learned is, one, they're living in sin and they feel too guilty still being a Christian. And so they just can't hack it. They just have to go because they're selfish. Yeah, or else they're angry. Something bad happened to them and they blame God. And that's wrong because God is good and God would never do anything bad. And if something bad happens, it's because God's mysterious. If something good happens, it's because God's good. And so Christians just say, I'll pray for you. Because you are lower in their opinion and they no longer trust you. And they no longer consider you their close friend anymore. Because you've lost the way. You have become a member of the lost. So Christianity, another aspect of Christianity feeding narcissists, and this is particularly for male narcissists. In Christianity, men may be leaders and women are natural followers. And they spin this as like, men aren't higher than women, they're just different. And the reality is that males are the primary household decision makers. So a woman may say, I think we should do A, but if the man says, I think we should do B, that's what happens. Even for huge financial decisions, even if the man is losing money gambling, or wants to use the wife's money that she earned to do something, like get into debt, or send their child to a school they can't afford. In reality, that means that men make decisions that are church-wide, that all elders at a church are men, like my father, and that women are only allowed to teach other women and children. So a narcissist already believes that they should be in charge of everyone else, and especially women. They don't have empathy. Women are smaller than they are, and they can physically dominate and control them. And the Christian idea that women are not natural leaders is like, yes, I knew it. That's how a narcissist feels about that. In Christianity, women are the original sinner, and women tempted man to become a sinner, but he would not have been one without women. And so the narcissist with his paranoia often thinks his wife is working against him anyway. So with Christianity, the narcissist can say, my wife's trying to lead me astray. My wife's trying to sabotage me. And people will believe him and not believe the wife about the abuse that's going on. Because men are more credible than women in the church. Another aspect that really affected me as a person is narcissists lack empathy and feel threatened by other people's pain. They can't relate to it. Other people's pain is about the narcissist and how he has failed them personally. And instead of joining them in their emotions, the narcissist wants to make it about him, and sort of it tarnishes his image as a perfect person. In Christianity, along with that, complaining is the ultimate failure. So in school, I went to a Christian school. We had a lesson about the Israelites and how when they were wandering in the desert, they started to complain because they were eating manna every day and it was getting old. And they were like, is God really going to lead us to a new land? Is God really going to provide for us? And God actually threatened to destroy the Israelites because he got sick of hearing their complaining. The lesson at the end of that lesson, which was an early year, I'd say first grade, was, "God hates complaining." And I still remember it because we repeated it over and over. God hates complaining. Christianity believes that God allows pain when people make a mistake or sin. So the narcissist says, "I knew other people's pain is their fault," or "it's not real, they're just complaining to get attention," or "they've sinned and they're experiencing the results of their actions, so I don't need to hear about their pain." God might also be testing them, so they definitely need to overcome it on their own, and I'm not going to listen to it. One time I talked to my mom and I just said, "Yeah, I'm really frustrated with the situation." And her response was, "Well, frustration is about control. And maybe you're feeling frustrated because you haven't given control of the situation to God." You can see the sinisterness of even trying to control people's emotions with spiritual platitudes, not letting them feel how they feel. A friend's mom said, "You're not allowed to vent in this household." Her mother. Continuing how complaining threatens the narcissist and how they spiritualize that, and how Christianity encourages that. In college, I had the stomach flu really bad. It was the kind where you throw up so much that your stomach really hurts and you can't sleep. You're just lying awake in that pain. And at some point during the night, I said to my mom, "It hurts so bad." And she didn't really say anything. But then later, just to get me through the night, I started quoting Psalm 23. "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." And it was really comforting. And my mom was nearby and she said, "Wow, that response is so much more mature than your complaining earlier." She was uncomfortable with my expression of pain and she didn't have any empathy for it. Narcissists have incredible paranoia and negative views of others, and it helps them feel great about themselves because they interpret everyone else's motives and actions negatively, and their actions are positive and good. This works really well with Christianity. In Christianity, children are born sinful and need constant correction. And I talk a bit more about this and about my experience with it on the website leaving-christianity.com. So leavingchristianity.com with a dash in the middle. So children are born sinful. Your spouse is born sinful and needs constant correction from you. And people use the Bible to support this, but that's what the narcissist already believes anyway. So match made in heaven. The narcissist believes that he should act out his anger on his children by threatening them and by hitting them at some level or another. The narcissist says, "It's not really because I'm angry. It's really because God said to do this, and this produces the right kind of adults when my children grow up to be adults." A more modern phenomenon of Christianity is the fact that there are many churches in the same town, and people can actually choose which church they want to go to. It's not just the village church. There must be at least 100 or 200 churches in my small home city of 60,000 people. 200 is probably an underestimate. So people actually treat going to a church as shopping. They call it church hunting, and it's almost like going to the mall of churches. This is amazing for a narcissist, because what it means is that he can go to as many churches as he wants until he finds people that affirm him. So in my case, my dad visited and my family visited many churches until we found a church that was filled with people that boosted his self-image. So it was filled with people who were professors and doctors and made high incomes and drove SUVs. And even though they didn't agree with a lot of our core beliefs, like they were Calvinists, we were not Calvinists. We believed in speaking in tongues, they did not. It was just the right kind of people. And those people admired my dad's intelligence and made him feel like he was in a higher social echelon than our last church. So our church before that had been more people who did manual work, like mechanics and people who drove backhoes and stuff like that. But my dad loved it because they loved him. He was an elder, he preached sermons, and best of all, he had a chance to play piano in their worship band, and that was the thing that he enjoyed the most about going to church anyway. And so, as a narcissist, the need for constant affirmation affects what church you'll go to, and the narcissist will even shift beliefs or shift types of Christianity in order to be around people that feed his narcissism. Thanks so much for watching. Hope this was helpful.